This week we're going for a ride in the sky. We're talking about another Disneyland attraction, and this time it's the Disney Monorail. This is episode 85. I'm Soraya.
I'm Aurora.
And together we're just your average Disney travelers. Well, the Disney Monorail is at Disneyland as well as Disney World, but we're going to talk about Disneyland this week. And so we've got a bunch of facts. There's a ton of facts that went with this one.
There's a lot.
A lot of information to share. And before we do, I'm just going to apologize if we're missing any major news and stuff. The last 2-3 weeks, we've been doing a ton of traveling, just visiting family and doing different things. Aurora had camp and things like that, and so
we've just been busy nonstop.
Yeah, by the time you're listening to this, it'll be past tense. At this moment, we're trying to record a bunch before all of that because we're not going to be home together at the same time for very much time in the next 2.5-3 weeks, and so this is actually recorded a good 3 weeks early, and so if we're missing anything, be patient. Hopefully we'll catch up with that soon, maybe next week. But for now, we're going to do this attraction spotlight, and what do we want to start with?
First, it opened on June 14th, 1959.
Yeah, so it wasn't, it didn't open with the park.
Nope.
But 4 years later.
Yeah. And then it was located in Tomorrowland.
It still is.
Still is.
So at least the Disneyland part is in Tomorrowland. Yeah.
Yeah. The attraction type is a straddle beam monorail.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 13 minutes if you take a round trip. Yeah. It goes about 30 miles per hour max.
Yeah. So it is quite quick.
Yeah.
But it's not like super speed.
Nope.
Yeah.
There are no height restrictions.
Yeah, so everyone can go on this.
Yes.
Take your babies.
And guests may remain in wheelchairs / ECVs.
Yeah, so that's nice. No one has to transfer. You can they do have to put down a ramp. So when they see they've got a wheelchair, they'll have you line up to where they're going to put a ramp, and then you just ride right in and you stay there. And then you'll have to back out when it's time to get out.
Yes.
But, yeah.
There are no lightning lanes for this either.
Yeah. No.
Obviously.
Yeah. Okay, so the monorail. The description on this is ride the historic high-speed, zero-emission transportation system that rockets along a single rail through the Disneyland Resort. Fly over Fantasyland and Tomorrowland, past the majestic Matterhorn bobsleds, glide over Grizzly Peak, Buena Vista Street, and Hollywoodland in Disney California Adventure Park. Zoom through Disney's Grand Californian Hotel and Spa and the downtown Disney District. The Disneyland Monorail was the first transportation system of its kind in America. The current version combines the sleek styling of the 1959 classic with new technologies and subtle design changes, bringing a retro-futuristic look and contemporary feel to the timeless Disneyland icon. So that is Disneyland Monorail in a nutshell.
Yep.
So fun facts, we said there are a ton of these. We have a lot to go over. So why don't you get us started?
Okay, so Walt Disney originally envisioned the monorail as a practical form of public transport for the future. But his wife, Lillian, played a key role in the development of the Disney monorail. While on a trip to Germany, they rode an early form of the monorail, one that had carriages suspended beneath the rail. This gave the ride some sway, and Lillian wondered out loud, why can't they run the cars on top of the track? And it was this thought that stayed in Walt's mind.
Yeah, so I am so glad that they made the monorail with the cars on top where it's more stable and it doesn't move around as much. I don't know. I think I still would like a monorail the way that they had it, but if it was swaying a lot, I worry I would get sick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe not. I don't know. I'm eager to try the gondolas over at Disney World, and they probably sway some. So, but anyways, yeah. So Lillian was the one that kind of spurred that idea to have it in the way that they are now up on top. But yeah, Disney always wanted. In fact, if you look at like early images of what like artist concepts and stuff that he presented to people when he would think about Disneyland Park, every one of them always had a monorail in it, like what we know now as a monorail.
Yeah.
In the depiction. So yeah. Okay, so the Disneyland monorail.
Well,
you
it
can
is on a rail.
you can yeah. Okay. It opened first as a sightseeing attraction along with the Disneyland expansion with the Matterhorn bobsleds, the submarine voyage, the expanded version of Autopia, and motorboat cruise, which is no longer. But yeah, so this was 4 years after Disneyland first opened. They were doing an expansion, and the monorail was part of that.
Yep. In 1961, it became a true transportation system when the track was extended to outside the park where a second platform was constructed. I can read. Yes, definitely. 100%.
So originally that second platform that that made it then now a transportation, not just an attraction, was at the Disneyland Hotel. So that was where that second, that out of park platform is.
Yes. Guests used to be able to purchase a ticket from the Disneyland Hotel just to ride the monorail and get a view of Disneyland Park without having park entry.
Yeah, so I guess they could do both. It was like you could have it one of two ways. You could either be using it to go into the park, and you had to have a park ticket, of course.
Yes.
Or you could do just a sightseeing tour, like this quick little tour round trip to and from, starting at the Disneyland Hotel then, and so they allowed that, and you could go in and be basically in the park, seeing the park for a few minutes.
Yeah.
But without paying for admission.
Honestly, that'd be really cool.
Yeah. Yep. They don't do that anymore.
No. No, they do not. There are still only 2 monorail stations at Disneyland Resort. One in Tomorrowland above Finding Nemo submarine voyage, and one in downtown Disney near the Disneyland Hotel.
Yeah, so the downtown Disney monorail station is the second park entrance into Disneyland Park. So they don't do where you can just do a round trip if you're outside of the park anymore. Now, if you're getting on the monorail from downtown Disney, you are entering the park, which means you have to have a park ticket. You will have already gone through security if you're in downtown Disney, because they have security checkpoints every time you enter downtown Disney. It used to be they didn't have security checkpoints just to be in downtown Disney, and in that time they had security checkpoints at the monorail station. But now that they have your checkpoints when you come in through the hotels or off the street, that is already secure. So, but on the monorail station, you do have to have park tickets. They'll scan whatever it is you have, whether it's a ticket or your phone or pretty soon magic bands. And so, yeah.
And the monorail travels in one direction only.
Yep. Just kind of keeps doing it has a loop. The loop's like, it's not like a circle though. I mean, it winds and twists, and so you'll see they kind of cross paths and everything, but it goes in one direction.
Yeah. The Disneyland Monorail was the first daily operating monorail in the Western Hemisphere. And round trip, it's a 2.5-mile journey.
Yep. And like we said, it's about 13 minutes to do that round trip.
Yep.
All right, so as the monorail trains have aged, they've been replaced with newer versions. And the current one is Mark 7. So this is the 7th version of monorail. Not all of those versions have been at Disneyland. Some of them are at Disney World. I think I heard that Disney World is on Mark 6. In fact, Mark 6 never was at Disneyland. That's only been at Disney World.
Huh.
But sometimes they'll have more than one at a time, too. So, like, as they're transitioning to another, like a newer version, they'll still have older versions that they're phasing out.
Yeah.
Sometimes, right now, all they have is all Mark 7, but at sometimes you'll end up seeing that there's multiple ones. And right now at Disneyland, there are three vehicles. Oh, you know what? The cat is somewhat near the the microphone, so if you start to hear purring, it's not Aurora sleeping.
I'm very awake.
It's a kitty cat. But anyways, yeah. So the 3 Mark 7 monorail vehicles at Disneyland are called the Monorail Red, Monorail Blue, and Monorail Orange. And amazingly enough, you can tell them apart because one is red, one is blue, and one is orange. And even when they have skin like overlays and stuff on them, usually I think you can still see those colors at some point, like in the front or something. But anyways, yeah. So those are the 3 that they've got going on at Disneyland right now.
Yeah. Each train is propelled by 6 DC electric motors, so it emits no direct exhaust or pollutants into the atmosphere.
Which is nice. So they're very clean, which is really good. Which is that's like I always say, why on earth can't they do something like that for the Autopia?
Yeah.
It's like, here you've got this great, clean, smooth, doesn't smell, monorail, and then Autopia right next to it that just stinks it up. But anyways, I don't know. In 1959, construction costs for the entire system averaged over $1 million per mile. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Oversized. Wow. Oversized. I did say it right.
Yes.
Okay. One more time. Oversized ceremonial.
Wait, were they oversized?
Okay, leave me alone. Again, once more, oversized ceremonial scissors failed to cut the ribbon during the televised opening ceremony, so Walt simply tore it.
Yeah, and he wasn't the one that was trying to cut it. I'm pretty sure it was Vice President at the time, and was it Nixon, I think, and it was his daughters or kids that were doing the actual, opening ceremony and cutting the ribbon, and they couldn't get it, but it was on live on TV, so he just jumped in and ripped the ribbon, so, yeah. In December of 1986, the Disneyland Monorail system was named a National Historic Mechanical Engineering Landmark. I did not know that.
I didn't either, actually.
Yeah, so there's a plaque located at the entry of Tomorrowland Station commemorating this achievement, and I'm going to go look for it the next time I go.
Yeah.
And just to, put that into perspective, there are less than 300 artifacts or systems that have been given that honor right up to date. I think what I saw was it's around 270 or something like that, but there's less than 300, and so that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And
it's deserving of it. It is a really great mechanical, engineering landmark that we see in lots of places now. Mm-hmm. So, anyways.
Disneyland's monorail is the only monorail in the world that has a stop inside a Disney park.
Yeah, because the other Disney parks that have monorails, they're outside. They're just transportation. They get you to the park, to the hotels, to parking lots, to things like that, but they don't actually go inside the park. They don't have where you can get on and off it inside the park like Disneyland. So that's unique, which is cool. Mm-hmm. The Disneyland monorail vehicles often get temporary overlays. We've talked about that before, and those usually are promoting new movies or attractions or something new going on in the parks or something like that. So every now and then they'll do that for temporary, they're not usually for super long times, but it's kind of fun when we do see that. So, yeah. Oh, and also something to note, the monorail at Disneyland cannot run, or usually does not run during any of the fireworks that go on in Disneyland Park. So that's good to know. Okay, so let's see, tips. We mentioned before that if you're in a wheelchair, that's totally fine. You can stay in your wheelchair. However, if you have a stroller, you do need to have the stroller folded before you get on. So if you're up there waiting, if you've got a sleeping kid, you're getting ready to go back to the hotel or whatever, or if whatever you're doing, um, you can leave them in there, but once the monorail arrives and you're going to get into the vehicles, you're going to have that closed up. So just keep that in mind and plan accordingly and try to do that in enough time.
Yeah. You can ask a cast member to sit in the front. Only 4 riders are allowed in the front with the driver. This was suspended during COVID.
Yeah, and I don't know for sure if it's back or not. And that's the thing. I'm actually not even sure. There is a possibility it won't come back, but they have had it where you could ride up front. And I know Disney World years ago used to, and then they stopped doing that because of an accident that had taken place. But Disneyland continued to do it. But I just don't know. You would just have to ask to see if they still are. I think the next time we go, I'll ask if they are doing it yet, even if we won't use it because we'll have more than 4 people in our group. But yeah, we'll find out. But this is something that they have done traditionally. It's really kind of fun.
Yeah.
It has a totally kind of a better view, really unique view, I think. And I think they also have. It's in the back. I'm pretty sure they also have a smaller area there too that also would be kind of a cool, unique view. That one I think you can sit up to 6. So, but yeah, for sure, check on it if you're interested.
Yes. Downtown. Another tip is that downtown Disney restaurants are not nearly as busy as the Disneyland restaurants during lunchtime. So. A quick ride on the monorail to downtown Disney is a great option if you're looking for a quieter dining location.
Yeah, and if you're doing quick service and it's just time you're worried about, maybe that's not really going to save you time because you can mobile order now at most of the restaurants in Disneyland, and that saves you time. But if it's less about the quickness and more about just the atmosphere, it is really crowded at all the restaurants right at peak times. So if you're going to go, you want to go and grab something to eat, that might be a fun, easy trip to do. It's that time of day that the monorail is not super busy, so you shouldn't have to wait very long. And the monorail usually, it's usually about 10 minutes in between, the vehicles arriving. So the most you're going to wait is 10 minutes for one, typically, unless there's so many people that you have to go through multiple, cycles before you get on it. But at that time of day, you shouldn't have that problem, and so that's definitely a great option. The busiest time, though, for the monorail is the 2 hours before closing. As people are winding down and starting to head back to their hotels, it gets so busy. I would say really basically... If it's open late, like say the parks are open till midnight, then I would also say immediately following the fireworks. So immediately following the fireworks, and then it might die off a little bit until, 10:30 or something like that. But that last little bit before the park closes is when everybody's using it to get back to their hotels if they're staying on that side of Disneyland. And so if you're doing it just for a round trip, if you just want to go and ride the monorail, not as a transportation, but as an attraction, don't wait till then.
Yeah.
Do it earlier in the day. The middle of the day is good. But yeah. Anyways, so those are our tips and info about the Disneyland monorail. Aurora.
Yes.
What kind of memories or experiences or things do you have that you would want to share? Do you have any?
I remember thinking it was cool.
Just that it was cool?
No, that's my only memory. I don't even know if it's even at Disneyland. It might be at Disney World, but it's on a monorail.
The monorail, the actual, what it is and does, generally speaking, is essentially the same. It's just the specifics of it, of what the purpose is, and everything is different for the locations. But if you enjoyed just being on it as a ride in general and being up in the air and being on that track or something, then yeah, that is cool. But no specific memories.
Nope.
I think
haven't
that
gone on it in years.
Yeah, I think the last time we went on it might have been when we were staying at the Disneyland Hotel. which was a long time ago. It was probably like 8 years ago, I think. I can't remember what year it was. It was the year that we went with Aunt Heather. And anyways, yeah. So we don't usually ride it just to ride it. Although occasionally we have in the past, but you're right. It's probably when we were younger. You were younger.
Yeah.
That we did it more as a ride. Man, I keep thinking, I could swear, it's like I can see it in the last few years of us being right there and on the ramp. So maybe we did ride it with the Heinz. I don't remember. But I know.
Not with the Heinz.
Not with the Heinz.
That was like a big group. I don't think we'd even be able to fit in a car.
Yes, you can.
Everyone.
You can fit up to 22 people in a car. So yes, we could have.
Okay, well we could, but that'd be a lot of work. I don't think we.
I maybe it's a time that I've gone since
without me.
Yeah, without you, or even when we were all together, but you didn't ride it and we split up because that happens sometimes. I don't have any real big specific like favorite memories specifically, but I will say that I do enjoy it. It can get a little bit warm if you're sitting and the sun's coming through the window, but I hope you can't hear whoever's doing their yard work outside. Got a leaf blower going now in the background, but it's really pretty. The way that it winds through, especially when you're in the parks, in Disneyland Park, I really like it. It's really pretty throughout the Tomorrowland area and everything. There's lots of green trees you'll go through. You go around the Matterhorn. You see parts of Fantasyland. It's just really cool. I enjoy it. Since we don't have the People Mover anymore at Disneyland, this is pretty much the only thing that's kind of like that.
Yeah.
And so I really like that. It's enjoyable. And then it does the same thing. It doesn't go through Disney California Adventure Park very much, but it does go right on the edge of it. And then it doesn't stop at Grand Californian, but it does go through it. And that's also kind of cool. I mean, maybe if you had your room right next to it, it wouldn't be so cool to hear it every 10 minutes. But it's neat to ride it and going through the Grand Californian Hotel. It doesn't make it all the way to Disneyland Hotel, but it gets close and it stops there at Downtown Disney, just short of it. But I just think it's a pretty ride. It's relaxing. It's fun. If you're gonna get on it for the round trip, you just get on. I believe you can just stay. I don't think that's changed. You just stay, and then they pick up more passengers, and you go back, and it's pretty cool. So try it next time you go. We'll probably do it next time we go because we're gonna go for a long trip.
Yes. And
we'll be with my son-in-law has not been to Disneyland in so long that we'll probably be doing everything.
Yes, everything.
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 So I'm sure we'll do it. But anyways, Monorail. It's great. So give it a try if you haven't done it yet. And that's it for us this week. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week.
See you.